guys, Mrs. Langless here, and today we're going to talk about our last step in our Square One art project. Our work was all about a one-point perspective optical illusion drawing. So here is what it will look like once you add color, or obviously it's not going to look just like mine, but when you're adding the color, it really adds to the illusion and just really makes it pop right out of the paper. So we're going to talk about color in just a second. I just want to review the process real quick. So I am going to rewind to where we started. So first we started out with our drawing. We traced rectangles or other shapes around this central point, our vanishing point. Once you traced those, then you added the lines with a straight edge or a ruler that all went to the vanishing point. After that, last week, we worked on incorporating our names and also tracing, if you hadn't done that already, as well as adding patterns. So here is an example of the patterns at the face of each one of these. And you can see that I've written my name here and also going down this side, first and last. Remember, you didn't have to put both your first and last. You could just do your first. That was up to you. So incorporating your name in some kind of an interesting way, and then adding in patterns to your artwork as well. So once it is traced, it looks like this. So this is really where you should be today. And now we are going to talk about adding color. So you can use crayons or colored pencils or markers in this project. And the real goal is to use color to make the image really pop off the paper, but also to add to the illusion that things are sort of moving away from you here. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep our darkest values when we color this area. We're going to keep our darkest values toward the center. So it's going to go dark to light. So think about it as in the light is shining from where we're viewing the artwork, and then as this gets further away, it gets darker, darker, darker toward the center. So as always, once you've chosen your material that you're going to color with, it's always a good idea to test out your colors first. So for that, I've got a test sheet. So I colored this one, by the way. I colored this one with all markers. You could do a combination of markers, crayons, and colored pencils. It's really up to you. Whatever you have on hand that you like to use, that is the best thing that you should use, okay? So I'm going to show you a demonstration with my colored pencils as well as my markers, because I know that we haven't really talked about, you know, the value change or shading or fading colors with markers. So I definitely want to show you that. So first I grabbed a couple of blues, and what I need to do first is kind of test each one to decide, okay, which ones are darker, which ones are lighter. And I think I should have pressed down a little bit harder with that one. So this one seems to be a little bit darker. That one's a little bit lighter than that. Let's see this one. Oh, that's definitely the darkest value. And then oh, this one's kind of similar to this one right here, but if I go lighter with it, I can make it lighter. So remember, with colored pencils, even if you only have one color, all you have to do is change the pressure to create this. So for example, let me grab my artwork here. Let's say that all I had was this one right here. Now, think about, where did Mrs. Langless say that the darkest area is going to be? And I'm going to start by working on these places first instead of the faces of the these shapes coming out at us. So the darkest area is going to be furthest away. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press down super duper hard right here toward the center. Then as it gets closer, I'm going to start to pick up my pressure. So this clearly is something that we've been practicing lately. You are using those skills that you've practiced in this project for, you know, fading or shading, whatever you want to call it, it has the same effect. So now I'm going to go even lighter, 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 and I'm actually going to change the direction I'm coloring in just to get this edge, okay? And kind of, again, feathering it in so that the transition from dark to light looks good. Now, remember, and I actually forgot this. I don't even know if I have one on hand. I don't think I do. Ooh, actually, right over here I do. Let me grab something. So, sorry about that, but remember that a white colored pencil can also come in very handy as a blending tool. So see this light to dark? I can make it even more dramatic if I come in and sort of use that right over the top. And it gives it sort of this like haziness, and you'll see that it really kind of changed that color quite a bit. And then I'm not going to blend it into the darkest area because I want it to be dark. So I'm just going to do it in this area. And then when you're happy with it, boom, you're done. Okay? Now, you can do that same process, of course, with different colors as well. So maybe I'll come over here now. All right? And I'm going to make it super dark, dark, dark. This was my darkest blue I found on my test sheet. Then I think I'll go to this one next. This is a little bit different than that other one. So these are different values of blue. I'm gonna make it kind of come along here. And then finally, I'm gonna change to that lightest value. Okay, so it's going from dark to light. And again, if you wanna use that white colored pencil in there, it can really enhance it. Okay, so that's colored pencils, okay? And you know, you can fade from one color to the next too. Like, for example, on this one, I started with a purple and then I faded to this like pink color here. So you can do, you know, you don't have to stick with just one color. Monochromatic refers to one color. You can do multiple if you'd like. So that's up to you. All right, so now let's talk markers for a minute. So I'm just gonna switch my artwork right over here so I can have an area to demonstrate. So depending on what you have for markers, it is a good idea to have more than one value of something if you're trying to do this, because markers are a little bit more difficult to fade. They have kind of, you can't necessarily you know, press down harder. It actually could hurt the marker. One of the things that you can do, though, that I want to show you, so here's a blue. Oh, and this one's really running out, as you can see. Let me try the other tip. Okay, so you can see, maybe I can do it here. Good. So there's my marker. Now, if I only had one marker, I could make this darker by going over one area more. Okay, so do you see how by overlapping just in this one spot, I'm getting that fading technique? So that does work. But if you want more variety, you can choose more than one marker. So for example, here's one that I have that's sort of a lighter blue. Then I can go to this medium blue. Okay, so you can see the difference. And then I can go to this darker blue. This is like a blue violet or a navy blue, indigo, okay? So you can see where it goes light to dark. Now, how this works on this paper, let me show you. So we've got those values. So I'm gonna start out again with my darkest value, and I'm gonna start toward the center. It's weird, I'm sticking with all blues. That was totally not my intention here. All right, so dark, dark, dark right here. And what I like to do is I leave the edge sort of rough like this. So see how it's like uneven? There's not a straight line. Then, uh-oh, just clipped my hair in the cap. That didn't feel very good. Okay, then I go to my medium blue. So I'm gonna take the cap off of this guy. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to overlap the two colors. So watch this. So I'm actually doing a little bit of blending here with the marker. Boy, this marker is on its way out. It has been used quite a bit. So I'm just going to keep on overlapping. And again, I'm trying to blend those two colors in. So overlapping, trying not to go out of the edges like Mrs. Langless just did. All right, and now finally I'm going to go to that lighter color. So I'm going to use a thicker tip because I've got kind of a larger area here. So again, I'm going to overlap. Notice I left that rough edge again. So I'm overlapping. That's sort of the way that you kind of feather it in, that term that I was using before. And I'm just going to keep on going. And you're going to get a little bit of a texture from the marker strokes. And I'm going to change directions just to get this nice edge here so that I don't go outside. And then I'm going to come back over and just overlap. Now, if you see weird lines like that, you can just keep on going over it until they disappear and create a nice gradual transition from dark to light. So I really like the way that looks. All right, so that's how it works with markers. Colored pencils, crayons really behave in the same way as the colored pencils. So for a moment, now that I've shown you that, so that is how I'd like you to color in these areas that are sort of coming up, popping up at you, coming back from the vanishing point. The faces here, those original shapes that we traced, you can color in whatever way you want. So I'm just going to show you my example. Get rid of my test sheet here. Here it is. Now you'll notice that on these faces, I just straight up colored. So sometimes I made a pattern with my colors. Sometimes I just colored one whole color, which is great because you've already traced your lines with a marker, so they stand out. So you can just kind of color right over. Same here, that's what I did. Now here I sort of just used all different blue colors to kind of go along with the ocean wave. And then here I did all different colors. So again, feel free to color your faces in any way that you want, just nice, careful coloring. Make it your best work, because again, this is our Square One Art project. Now let's talk about this area back here. Now I like mine just being white because I feel like the contrast is really nice, but if you feel like you want to color it, go for it. So you could color this whole white space here if you'd like, okay? That is pretty much it for this project. So for this week, you are working on developing the colors, going from dark to light here, out from the vanishing point. You can use crayons, markers, colored pencils, or a combination of all three, and you can color the faces in any way you want. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to email me. And when you're finished with your work, as always, please snap a photo, upload it to Seesaw, or send it to me through email so that I can give you some feedback and also give you credit for the awesome work that you're doing. Thanks so much, guys, and I hope you enjoy this amazing artwork.